everybody! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR podcast. NASCAR would be Bristol, baby, bound in Tennessee for a racing-packed weekend. ARCA and Trucks would have a doubleheader on Thursday, Xfinity on Friday, and Cup Series Saturday night. Playoffs would be underway for all three national series, and Saturday would be a cutoff race for the Cup Series, as 4 drivers of the 16 would be eliminated, with the round of 16 coming to an end in Bristol. Storylines starting with ARCA as they get the action going first on Thursday. Who will win the battle between Brent Crews and Butterbean Queen? Also, Bobby Dale Earnhardt will be back in an ARCA seat. Trucks, in the second race of their playoffs, can Corey Heim keep Heim time ticking in his winning ways for a 4th win in a row? Or can another playoff driver take the trophy? Xfinity Series has been overtaken by Zilisch Mania. Will he get the 88 car its 5th win in a row, a feat that has never been achieved before in Xfinity? Or will a veteran of Almirola or Allgaier steal the show? Cup, the final race of the round of 12. Drivers on the point bubble and in the danger zone will be pulling out all the stops for the famed Tennessee track in Bristol, baby. Interview with Treyten Lapcevich as he makes his Truck Series debut. Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, NASCAR history time, predictions for New Hampshire and Salem, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He'll be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Splash of Gas will be on track at New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Saturday. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the ARCA Series recap. The ARCA Menard Series will have a combination race with the East Series in Bristol. This would serve as the championship race for the ARCA East Series. Brent Crews would win the qualifying and sit on the front row. Crews would jump out to the early lead and stay there for most of the race. It wouldn't be easy for Brent, though, who had to fight off an overtime finish over Tristan McKee and Brent Queen on his way to victory lane. Isaac Kitzmiller wins the ARCA East Series Championship. Now for trivia question time. This week's question is, who won the first Cup Series race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 1993? Answer coming at the end. Now for the Truck Series recap. Truck Series would follow ARCA on Thursday night. This would be the second round of the playoffs in the round of 10. Jake Garcia would win the pole, followed by Corey Heim, making up the front row. Yellow on the first lap as Lane Riggs spins. Heim was ruled the leader and restarts on lap 7. Corey would lead for a majority of the stage. With 7 laps to go in stage 1, Heim would be put in a bad spot by lap traffic, allowing Garcia to get by, and Jake Garcia goes on to win stage 1. But shortly after the start of the second stage, Garcia would encounter power steering issues and be forced to pit. Corey Heim and Lane Riggs would battle for the front position. Heim would go on to win the second stage, followed by Riggs and Ty Majeski. The third and final stage would somehow stay completely green. Was not expecting that by any means. Riggs would get the jump to the front as Heim falls to 7th on the restart. Riggs would have Ben Rhodes on his bumper, but it wouldn't be enough, and with no late yellows, Lane Riggs would secure the victory in Bristol and his spot into the round of 8. More breakdown on the playoff standings and predictions later in the show. Moving right along to the Xfinity Series recap. Xfinity would be the show on Friday night in Bristol. Justin Allgaier would be on the pole, followed by Sam Mayer, completing the front row. Allgaier would get the jump and lead. Eventually, Connor Zilisch would get past Mayer for the second spot. A late caution would see a 2-lap shootout to end the first stage. Justin Allgaier would edge out Zilisch as the two would get past Jesse Love and Harrison Burton. Justin Allgaier wins stage 1. The second stage would stay completely green. Allgaier and Zilisch would battle. Zilisch would get the top spot and lead. Sam Mayer would work his way past Justin Allgaier for second, but couldn't get past Zilisch as he goes on to win stage 2. There would be 3 yellows in the final stage. The call of the race would come under the yellow of the second caution in stage 3 when Eric Almirola, Carson Kvapil, Sam Mayer, and 5 others stay out for track position as the rest of the field pits. The final restart would occur with 17 laps to go. Almirola and Kvapil would restart. Sam Mayer would get past the one of Kvapil quickly. Could Sam Mayer catch Almirola? No, he could not. Eric Almirola gets the win in Bristol. Sheldon Creed would get past his teammate Sam Mayer in the closing turns for second as Mayer finishes third. Now for the Cup Series recap. Bristol, baby, would be turned up for the first Cup Series playoff cutoff race of this year's playoffs. The championship-eligible drivers would be reduced from 16 to 12 at the conclusion of the race. In a surprising fashion, A.J. Allmendinger would be the fastest in qualifying and win the pole, followed by Ryan Blaney, making up the front row. Ty Gibbs would take the lead 24 laps in. Teams would start to see the tire wear show, and rubber would start to pile up in the corners. 2 yellows would occur in the first stage, one for a smoking Josh Berry, which would put an end to his playoff run. As the laps counted down in stage 1, Blaney would start to reel in Ty Gibbs. In an exciting last lap to end the first stage, Ryan Blaney would edge out Gibbs and win the first stage. Once stage 2 started, Ty Gibbs would return to the lead. He would have to fight off a late yellow in the stage, but he still picks up the stage 2 win. In the final stage, 7 yellows would bring us to a long green flag run starting on lap 398. Brad Keselowski would be leading in front of Christopher Bell. The final yellow of the night would occur on lap 488 as Keselowski bumps Cole Custer, triggering a wreck involving Bubba Wallace. Many would pit. Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar are the first to leave the pits and would restart up front with 4 laps remaining. On the restart, Christopher Bell would get past Smith and Hocevar for the lead. Keselowski would do the same, but it wouldn't be enough to catch Bell as all 3 Joe Gibbs drivers in the playoffs grab wins in the first round. Josh Berry, Alex Bowman, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Dillon are eliminated from the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Quick look back at the predictions we made. ARCA went with Butterbean Queen. He finishes third. Trucks tapped Corey Heim. After struggling on the final restart, Heim finishes third. Xfinity picked Justin Allgaier. He brings home the 7 car back with a P6 finish. Cup Series, I picked the wrong Gibbs car. I went with Denny Hamlin. He finishes 31st. Now for yellow flag, green flag. ARCA, another green flag for Tristan McKee. The 15-year-old finishes second. Truck Series yellow, no fault to his own. After winning the pole, Jake Garcia has power steering gremlins, have him finish 33rd. Truck Series, green. The Truck Series playoffs, green flag to them. They are getting exciting, and playoff drivers finish all in the top 5. What's going to happen in New Hampshire? Xfinity, yellow. With how good the JRM cars had been running recently, tough luck for Sammy Smith, ends his day early. Xfinity, green flag. A crafty veteran move leaves Eric Almirola out to stay on the track, and it proves to be the winning move on track position as he gets the win. Cup Series yellow. Poor Josh Berry. The 21 does not finish running in all 3 of the first round of the playoffs. Cup Series green, again to Joe Gibbs. All 3 of their drivers in the playoffs, Briscoe, Hamlin, and Bell, sweep the round of 16. Who will stop them? And now for our interview, we bring on driver Treyten Lapcevich, who would be making his Truck Series debut for Young's Motorsports. Here's what Treyten had to say. Next driver we bring on the Splash of Gas is Treyten Lapcevich. We spoke to Treyten before his ARCA debut in Phoenix, and then again when he won in that series at Berlin Raceway. Thank you for joining the show again, and congratulations on making your Truck Series debut this past Thursday.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Always good to talk to you. Just as mentioned, you make your debut in the Truck Series, driving the 02 for Young's Motorsports. Had Nathan Bird on the show earlier this year, who made starts in the 02 also. Not sure how much you've been to their shop, but how's it been working with Young's Motorsports so far?
It was a lot of fun. I never got to go to the shop. Just everything kind of came together so quickly. It was just about, a few days before the race, we got it all done and got it all down pat. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience, and had a lot of fun working with the guys on the 02 truck, and we made a lot of improvements all day long. So it was a really good experience.
Awesome. Appreciate you touching on that. You've worked with several teams this year, and sometimes you're just hopping right in the seat. Like, how are you able to adapt to working with new faces sometimes?
It's different for sure. The big thing is comfortability in the car. And obviously tough. I wasn't able to get down to their shop, and I'm living in Canada too, so it makes it a little tough. Not really being able to get there and get fit in the car. Luckily, my buddy Parker Retzlaff was able to head over to the shop and kind of get the car roughed into how he would like it. And to be honest, it worked out really good for us. When I sat in the car on Thursday, it was pretty much just exactly where I would want things too. So that worked out well. And then the people side of things, it's just, that's. It pretty much comes easy when you're working with good guys. Young's had a really good crew and a really good group of guys. I talked to Tyler a lot on Thursday too, and he was really great and just willing to help me wherever he could. With it being my first start and whatnot. So a lot of great people that pretty much just their goals are all the same. They want to go fast and run as well as we can.
Cool. That's really cool about Parker. I've spoke to him several times this season, so that's cool that he was helping you out. Glad to hear that everything else is going well with the start there last week. Once I heard the news you'd be driving the 02, wanted to ask you this question. You've driven a late model ARCA car and truck. What were they different, similar? I mean, with you hopping in the truck last Thursday.
Yeah. The hardest part about comparing all of them is just the different tracks that I've run them all on. Obviously Bristol being so much more banking and a lot faster than anything that I drove the ARCA car or a late model at. But for the most part, it felt pretty similar to the ARCA car.
Okay.
Pretty similar. A lot is the same, like in regards to the weight of the cars and the suspension. The big thing getting used to probably would have just been the different aero platform of the truck, especially in comparison to both the ARCA and the late model. Obviously how that truck cuts through the air is a lot different than how the ARCA car cuts through the air, and it causes it to handle so much differently. When you're in traffic and trying to pass people and whatnot.
Okay, gotcha. Really appreciate you answering that. With this being your first truck
truck race, as we've been saying. How did you prepare? Did you have any sim time iRacing?
Yeah, as much iRacing as possible. Once we kind of got it lined up, I hopped on iRacing, and I feel like I probably did 300-400 laps at Bristol leading up to the race. It's tough because the Bristol itself just changes so much, with them spraying the PJ1 down, and then also it just changes so much throughout the day as, the different, not only ARCA has their race and they lay down their rubber, and then the trucks get on track and they lay down their rubber for 250 laps, and the track changes so much. So, the feel that I'm getting on iRacing isn't going to be exactly the feel that I get when, I get on the track in real life. But the thing is, it just helps a little bit from a comfortability standpoint, because you kind of get that idea of, where your lifting points are, where your braking points are, where you got to be. But, from my perspective, it really was a whole different animal once I actually got behind the wheel.
Gotcha. Could definitely see that tire wear from the TV as well. Once you were on track, you were 28th fastest in practice. What did you learn from the practice session? Then you qualified 28, out qualifying several fast trucks. I mean, how did that practice of qualifying go for you, would you say?
Yeah, we struggled quite a bit in practice and qualifying. And I think that was a lot of it was we were just, I was talking with the crew chief, and we were really just trying to anticipate how the truck was going to change throughout the race. The trucks there, once they pass through like the pre-practice inspection, you aren't able to jack them up pretty much for the rest of the day. So your adjustments are pretty limited in that perspective, just to like wedge bolts, track bar, and, anything you can do in the front end without jacking it up. So you really got to try and plan out your day based on that information, and knowing how you're anticipating the track to change with the weather and the rubber being laid down. So we definitely struggled a little bit in practice and qualifying. We were really, really on the free side, and we're just struggling to make up speed in the corner, just with the rear end coming around. But that being said, I got as comfortable as I think I could be at that time. We don't get a ton of practice time, which makes it really hard on a new driver. So I don't really think I got completely comfortable in the truck until it was about lap 100 of the race or so, and we were back on the lead lap, and I was kind of catching my stride a little bit. But just tried to make the most of practice and qualifying and learn what I could.
Gotcha. Yeah, you finished stage 1 27th, stage 2 26th, and just like you mentioned, you get the free pass going into the final stage. What you mentioned the tire wear. I mean, did you was that something that you really expected? You were kind of learning on the fly. I mean, because from the TV, I mean, you can just see the piles of rubber in the corners. How did you feel going into the third stage?
Yeah, I mean, definitely had to learn it on the fly, just because I had no experience with that Goodyear rubber or that specific tire compound, or even what Bristol was going to do to the tires. So yeah, really just learning it on the fly. And I think in the race, I definitely struggled a little bit in the first stage, but kind of I found my groove a little bit at the end of the first stage. Second stage was I think where it clicked for the most part, though, and was really able to start making some headway and running with the faster trucks. And really that was just some adjustments we made on pit road, and then I got a pretty good feel for the truck as well. Gotcha.
Really appreciate the honesty. Unfortunately, your day didn't end the way you wanted. How do you feel leaving Bristol, and what did you learn? And in the end, how was driving the high banks? Looks really like a fun track as a fan.
Yeah, it definitely is disappointing, but it is what it is, right? I mean, we set out there to, get experience and try and run every lap and salvage a good finish. And I think at the time we went out, we were running 22nd or something like that, which, we would have been happy finishing it out there, especially for my first run. And, unfortunately what happened, it was nothing that I could have done, nothing, the crew chief Tyler could have prevented. Unfortunately, we just got a loose wheel on the last pit stop, and it led to a pretty bad vibration and breaking 3 wheel studs along the way. So really, we got lucky. It didn't, compound to something worse with the wheel completely flying off and being shot into the fence. But yeah, it happens, and that sort of stuff is just racing. But at the end of the day, I'm content with it. I obviously wish we could have finished it out, but I feel like I did my job and tried to just do as well as I could and gain as much experience as I could at the same time. Gotcha.
Appreciate that insight. Glad it wasn't anything worse. And last question, don't want to put you on the spot for the second half, but what are you going to take away from your Truck Series debut, and any plans you can announce for the rest of this year?
I think that it was definitely a good first experience in a truck. Just kind of the whole deal of how everything works there is a lot different than I'm used to with the late model stuff and whatnot. We, and the late model side of things, especially Cars Tour last year, we tested a lot, we practiced a lot. There's a lot of track time beforehand, leading up to the event. Trucks, it's a little bit tougher, which isn't as kind to newer drivers. So, it was really nice to get in the seat, get the feel of the truck. I think that, if I don't have anything to announce as answering that part of the question, but in leading into another potential opportunity, I think I'd be a couple steps ahead already, in kind of getting that out of the way, getting acclimated with the truck, and then can really just focus on finding that speed and adjusting the truck to where I need it to be.
Awesome. Really do appreciate the honesty, and like I said, the insight. Really do appreciate Treyten. So best of luck, and hope to see you at the track soon.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Always great to talk to Treyten. Best of luck to him the rest of this year. Now for discussions with Dave. 4-win Shane can't get out of the round of 16. When Van Gisbergen was rattling off his road course wins, which led him to start the playoffs with 22 playoff points, I thought Van Gisbergen would be a lock to make the round of 12 and even have a really good shot at the round of 8. I stood by that prediction throughout his 4 victories and into this playoffs. Boy, I was wrong. And I was wrong right when the playoffs started at the Southern 500. His finish there, as we now know, blew his cushion of playoff points, which led him not to make the round of 12. He is eliminated after Bristol. Nonetheless, as we know, Shane is locked in for the next several seasons at Trackhouse in the 88. There's no hiding how good he is on the road courses. The next question will be, can Van Gisbergen get a win on an oval? I don't know. Moving right along, next topic in discussions with Dave, Heim versus Herbst. With Corey Heim rattling off the number of wins he is this season at the Truck Series, throughout this year we have been talking about him going to the Cup level full-time next year. Heim, this current season, is on a part-time Cup schedule, being the development driver for 2311 Racing. If you look at the 3 current full-time Cup drivers at 2311, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick are locked in for the next several seasons. That leaves rookie Riley Herbst in the Cup Series, question mark, for next year. And unfortunately, Herbst was shown out at Bristol by Heim. With Corey Heim's 6th place finish, he now has more top 15 finishes than Riley Herbst this season in his 4th start, which is 2. Unfortunate for Riley, he's a really good driver and a great guy, but as we saw in Xfinity Series, it took him a long time and a lot of starts for him to get his first Xfinity Series win. And he's only won twice at that level. Yes, he's first year of Cup, and he's struggling. He's having growing pains. I get it. But when Heim comes up and shows him out in the same equipment, Riley Herbst did get a top 20. He finished 18th in Bristol. But with Heim finishing 6th, really puts a lot of spotlight and pressure on 23XI to have Heim in the Cup Series full-time next year. Will 23XI expand to a four-car team next year? A lot of question marks also as their dispute and lawsuit with NASCAR continues about the charter system. Next topic on DWD, Bristol tire wear. We saw at the first race in Bristol last year, tires were falling apart, and NASCAR had to release several sets of new tires to teams midway through the race. The second race in 2024, Goodyear went with a harder tire, which didn't make for the most exciting racing, as we've seen with Goodyear's tires that they've made for specific races. Martinsville, the tire they came up with, Dover, it's been pretty good. Goodyear's hit it more or less on the head compared to seasons in the past. Was a good amount of pressure on Goodyear to perform in Bristol. They needed to have a slightly softer tire so you can have tire wear, but tire wear can makes racing exciting. And the veteran drivers can really, some of them have it mastered on specific tracks, and that can be shown in long runs. The tire wear experience Saturday night was not as bad, I think, as it was 2 races ago at Bristol. It was totally a factor, though. You could see in the turns the piles of rubber that were just accumulating on the high lines. In the end, the tire wear and a late caution did have somewhat of effect. If that caution doesn't come out, I think Keselowski goes on to win that race. But if the tires weren't wearing the way they did, Keselowski probably would have a little bit more of control and not have bumped Cole Custer, which led to that caution. So they did play hand in hand. Goodyear, I think, is getting closer. They are completely on the bullseye right now, but they are in the right direction. Final topic on discussions with Dave. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing taps veteran sports executive Chip Bowers as team president. RFK announced Thursday that longtime sports executive Chip Bowers will take the organization's reins as president. Bowers previously served as president of business operations for the Miami Marlins from 2018 to 2019. His role with the Marlins came after nearly 6 years as chief marketing officer for the Golden State Warriors, which won 3 NBA titles and was named Sports Business Journal's Sports Team of the Year twice during his tenure. Bowers replaces Steve Newmark, who announced in July that he would become the Executive Associate Athletic Director for the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Now, what does this mean? As we know, RFK drivers, all 3 of them did not make the playoffs. And at the moment, none of them have gotten a win this year. Seemed like Newmark had his eyes set on the job at North Carolina. But was there pressure on Newmark with no wins this year? I don't know. Bowers is obviously a great sports executive, and he will be a great replacement, no doubt. Will be interesting to follow this to see what implications, if any, does Bowers make with him becoming president at RFK. That ends this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now for the playoff breakdown going into the Truck Series cutoff race in New Hampshire. We'll have my final predictions at the end of this episode. Corey Heim, Lane Riggs, both have wins. They're locked in, as we know. Daniel Hemrick, Ty Majeski, a 51-point cushion for Hemrick, 46 for Majeski. They're safe, in my opinion. 2 drivers, if they have issues early, Grant Enfinger and Tyler Ankrum are each 29 points to the good. They should be fine. Caden Honeycutt plus 18, but going to a short track where he's excelled, I think he'll be good. Raja Karuth plus 14, I don't know. I mean, he's having a good playoffs to be plus 14 already. He's trending in the right direction. Will it be enough? Jake Garcia wins the pole in Bristol, but unfortunately has a mechanical issue and finishes 33rd. Chandler Smith not having a good playoffs. He really hasn't been too hot since his win in North Wilkesboro. Can Chandler get out of his funk? We'll find out. Playoff breakdown for Xfinity as they enter an off week before Kansas, the second race of the round of 12. With Eric Almirola, a part-time driver, winning, no one that is currently eligible for the playoffs is locked in. But if you look at the top, Connor Zilisch plus 85, Justin Allgaier plus 53. They're good. Sam Mayer plus 35. 35, 30 to 40 points is typically a race per se. Mayer should be fine. Now, drivers in the danger zone is Carson Kvapil all the way down to Jesse Love. There's a lot of drivers in 21 playoff points. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 within 21 points of each other. There's guys are going to drop, guys are going to go down, between Kvapil, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, Nick Sanchez, Jesse Love. This race in Kansas, even though they do have the off week this week, Kansas is going to have big playoff implications for the Xfinity Series. Those drivers in the middle of the pack, the danger zone, as I've been saying, we'll see what happens to them. Then you got Austin Hill minus 16, Sammy Love minus 24. Think it's going to start to be too much of a hole for Sammy Smith to dig himself out of. He has gotten out of holes like this in the playoffs before with wins. What can he do? Think it's going to be a tough hill for him, though. No pun intended, though. Austin Hill minus 16. Can he work his way out? He should be able to, but he's going to have to turn it on for Kansas. Playoff breakdown and predictions for the round of 12 for the Cup Series. As we sit after Bristol, looking towards New Hampshire, all 12 current playoff drivers are within 29 points of each other. Tyler Reddick is the lowest at minus 3, and you got Denny Hamlin plus 26. Drivers in the danger zone right now: Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Cindric, Logano, Chastain, and Reddick. A lot of drivers there. Hamlin, Byron, Larson, Bell, Blaney. I think they're going to be good. Nonetheless, if one of them has a bad day, an early ending, they could drop below the cutoff line. Who knows? Briscoe, he's going to have a good day in New Hampshire. The 19 this year has done really well, excelled at tracks that Martin Truex Jr., the past driver of the 19, has won and has consistently been good at. And as we know, Marty T has won multiple times in New Hampshire. I think Briscoe is going to have a good day. Right now, I think Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace are going to get eliminated at the end of the round of 12. As crazy as that sounds, Chase is plus 5. Tough day in Bristol. Bubba's been trending in the right direction, plus 1. I don't know how he's going to boat in New Hampshire. Right now, I think he might get chopped in the round of 12. Might not make the round of 8. In my opinion, it's going to be a coin flip between Austin Cindric and Joey Logano. I don't think all 3 Team Penske cars are going to get in. Right now, I'm saying Cindric. Don't think he's going to make it, but who knows? Austin very well could make the round of 8. He's only minus 1 towards below the cut line right now. Tyler Reddick, I was saying he wasn't going to make it out of the round of 16. I was wrong. He was in the Final Four last year in Phoenix. I think Reddick is going to make it. So that leaves Ross Chastain as the final 4 of my drivers who I think are going to get eliminated in the round of 12. We'll see how these are standing after New Hampshire. Now for NASCAR history time. New Hampshire Motor Speedway through the years. July 14th, 96. Ernie Irvan delivered one of NASCAR's most emotional wins. Less than 2 years after a near-fatal crash at Michigan, Irvan returned to victory lane in the July race. He led 38 laps and held off Dale Jarrett in a dramatic finish, marking a powerful comeback. September 27th, 2000. Jeff Burton dominated at New Hampshire in an unforgettable fashion, leading all 300 laps to claim his 4th and final victory at the track. September 18th, 2005. Loudon delivered one of his most thrilling finishes in the opening race of the 05 playoffs. Tony Stewart controlled much of the race, but Ryan Newman went door-to-door with him in the closing laps. With a clever move on Stewart with 2 laps to go, Newman slipped past Tony and held off for the final lap, edging the future champion by just 0.29 seconds. Now, the drivers to look out for Salem and ARCA. Started off, driver of the 18, Max Reeves. He'll be quick. Leland Honeyman drops into 20 for Venturini Motorsports. He should be one to look out for as well. 28, Brendan Butterbean Queen. We know he's going to be a contender. Isabella Robusto. She has a tough day in Bristol. Think she can get a top 5 in Salem. Last but not least, driving the 69, Will Kimmel. He should be fast in his home state. Drivers to look out for, New Hampshire Truck Series. Brent Crews will be driving the number 1 for Tricon Garage. He should be quick. Corey Heim, of course, the class of the Truck Series Garage right now in the 11. Jake Garcia, he's good on short tracks and late models, as we know. He won the pole last weekend. Can his team get over the mechanical issues which caused to have a finish towards the rear? We'll see. McAnally Higgleman Racing Trucks, the 18, Tyler Ankrum and teammate Daniel Hemrick in the 19. They should be good. Think Hemrick can get into the top 5? Can Ankrum do it as well? Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, Front Row Motorsports. Each of them should be in the top 10, I believe, and even contending. Ty Majeski, the last driver we'll talk about. We know how good Ty is on the short tracks. He's in the playoffs. Can he grab his first win this year in the cutoff race? We will see. Now, the drivers to look out for, Cup Series, New Hampshire. We've been talking about how good Joe Gibbs Racing has been. Joe Gibbs Racing has a 4th driver, Ty Gibbs, who isn't in the playoffs. What can he do? Now, more Joe Gibbs drivers. Christopher Bell won there last year. Chase Briscoe finished 2nd, still with Stewart Haas Racing. We know how good Martin Truex Jr. has been at New Hampshire. Chase is in that same 19 car. Briscoe should be contending. Josh Berry, as we know, has not finished the last 3 races. He was 3rd last year. I think he's going to get out of his funk with a top 5 in New Hampshire. Kyle Larson was 4th last year. Expect a good day for Kyle. Some non-playoff drivers to look out for, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and John Hunter Nemechek. Each of them should be quick. Now, predictions for the round of 8 for the trucks. Corey Heim and Lane Riggs locked in. Hemrick, Ty Majeski, Enfinger, Ankrum, Honeycutt, all getting in. Now, this is where not really too much of a curveball. We know Lane Riggs just got the win last weekend. I think Chandler Smith grabs the win in New Hampshire. He is minus 24 below the cut line right now. Chandler, with the way Front Row Motorsports cars, trucks have been this year, I think he figures out a way to win. And unfortunately for Raja Caruth and Jake Garcia, I do believe both of them will get eliminated after New Hampshire. Now for Fast Davies bets. Trucks, Grant Enfinger, top 3 is plus 400. Not a bad one. Cup, Josh Berry was 3rd last year. This track should be good for him, and he will be looking to rebound. As mentioned, the round of 16 playoffs did not treat him well. Plus 500 for Josh to get a top 5. And that's another Fast Davies Bets. Now, predictions. ARCA. Butterbean Queen doesn't typically disappoint after I pick him and he doesn't get the win. Give me Butterbean Queen winning in Salem. Trucks. Already said it in the predictions for the round of 8. I think Chandler Smith gets the win. Cup. It would be a story if Ty Gibbs gets his first Cup Series win, making it 4 in a row for Joe Gibbs Racing. Think Joe Gibbs Racing gets their 4th win in a row, but I think it will be Chase Briscoe on Sunday in Loudon holding the lobster. Now for trivia answer time. This week's question is, who won the first Cup Series race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 1993? The answer is, driving the Miller Genuine Draft number 2 car was Rusty Wallace, who got the trophy and lobster the first go-around in New Hampshire. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. As mentioned, Splash of Gas will be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. Please make sure you follow all the social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has enjoyed this episode, and safe travels to everyone who's headed up to New England this weekend for some good old-fashioned racing. Splash of Gas out. Till next time, everybody.